Hi and welcome to the picture profile section of the Cinematic Success course. So let's jump straight in and turn our camera on and then hit the menu button. Now you may need to scroll through some of your settings here until you find picture style. Click into it and it will bring up a list of picture styles that you can choose from. There are a few here that you can select and change by default, but with most cameras you will also have the ability to create or import your own user-defined ones. Now picture profiles are broken down into sharpness, contrast, saturation and colour tone. So let's see what happens if we boost the sharpness to both ends of the scale. Sharpness all the way down makes the image look a lot softer, and all the way up makes it look really sharp and quite contrasty. Contrast all the way down wipes away a bit of the colour and creates a bit of a black and white sheen, and then all the way up makes the darker areas a lot darker and the colours a bit more poppy. Saturation all the way down will take all of the colour saturation out. Saturation all the way up boosts all of the colours quite a bit, but introduces a bit of colour burn too. Colour tone controls the hues and the greens and reds within your image, so flicking it all the way down will make your image more red, and then flicking it all the way up will make your image look more green. There are loads to choose from that are already in the camera, so let's run some test footage through all of them so you can see what they look like. Auto is based around what the camera thinks is correct for the scene, so this will change depending on the amount of light coming in, depending on the time of day, how many colours, what you're shooting, etc. Standard doesn't really show much of a difference, it just looks like the image is a bit sharper. Again, portrait will lose a bit of sharpness. Landscape looks a bit sharper and you can see there's a bit more colour tone involved. Fine detail does what it says on the tin and makes smaller details pop a bit more, giving them a bit more of a HDR look. Neutral is everything set to 0, so the image is completely neutral and somewhat balanced. Faithful, again there's not much difference here, but the image looks a bit softer. Monochrome takes everything out of the image and makes the image black and white. Now I wouldn't really recommend using this as it does limit what you can do in post. You can make the image black and white in post if you really wanted to, but if you shoot black and white straight out of camera then there's no way that you can add colour. Next we get to the custom profiles. Now I use 3 of them. I use CineStyle, which is commonly used for flexibility when it comes to colour correction and colour grading. I also use a homemade C-Log, which is similar to CineStyle but gives you a bit more room to colour grade and retain detail, as they both give you a bit more of a flat image. Finally is a profile I tend to use a lot of the time, which is one I created myself. This is just the look I use on most shoots, which involves minimal colour correction and colour grading. So here's a comparison of all of the profiles put together so you can see how they look side by side. Now like I mentioned, there's no right or wrong profile to choose. Your style as a video creator defines you and your brand, so it's important to use one or create one that fits what you're going to be shooting and the look that you're after. That said, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a shout.